FBI issues new warnings about how hackers can get your personal information from your phone.
Hacker stealing more than $200,000 in Bitcoin after hijacking his phone's SIM card.
Not everything that happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and Michael Turpin's hackers made sure of that. Even the most savvy investors can fall prey to a scam worth millions, and that's exactly what we're going to see in today's video. In January 2018, the crypto millionaire was at a conference when he received a notification that his email password had been changed and he hadn't done it himself. Turns out he just became the target of a scam called SIM swapping, and the hackers had hijacked his phone number. And while he was stuck on hold with customer service for an hour and a half, they raided his crypto accounts, stealing a whopping $24 million. The hackers had teamed up with corrupt phone company workers to steal Michael's phone number. They looked through all his emails, photos, files, and every single account he had to find a way into any of his crypto wallets. Finally, they found an account with $900 million in Ethereum. But they can't touch it yet because another password protects the wallet. Meanwhile, Michael checks his accounts and thankfully his biggest one seems okay. But then he notices that $24 million is gone. The scary crypto hacker leading this whole operation was a 15-year-old named Ellis Pinsky. He managed to pull off the biggest phone scam ever. The whole thing started with a bunch of teenagers chatting on Xbox, but quickly turned into a crime story filled with greed, betrayal, and loads of stolen cryptocurrency. A 13-year-old Ellis Pinsky lived in New York. This kid loved video games, soccer, and even chess, but there was one thing he craved most: space. After living in a cramped Manhattan apartment with two brothers, they finally moved to a two-story house. Ellis finally got his own room and even got a brand new Xbox One with Call of Duty Ghost. He became a master at the game. But during one late-night match, Ellis got into a heated argument with another player, and the player found his location, Irvington. This sparked his curiosity as to how a stranger found out where he lived. He learned about a program called Wireshark that could reveal anyone's IP address. With that, an IP2 location tool could pinpoint their approximate address. Little did he know, his curiosity would turn him into the biggest SIM-swapping hacker the world had ever seen. He used this newfound information for low-level stuff, recovering accounts, petty theft, and selling game stuff online, but after some time, Ellis wanted more. That's when he found and signed up for a forum for scammers called OG Users, which was a breeding ground for scams and controversies. He dived into the world of coding, learning languages like SQL and cross-site scripting. He started small, hacking weak websites and selling the info for a few bucks. Soon he was pulling off major raids, selling the stolen data for thousands of dollars to anonymous buyers. Within a year, Ellis was a big shot on the forum, teaming up with other hackers to target companies with the most valuable info. But Ellis wanted even more. He wanted a hack that could make him millions. And that's when Ellis and his crew figured out a new trick called SIM swapping. But how does a SIM swap work? A hacker buys a phone, calls your phone company like AT&T, and convinces or most likely bribes a worker to switch your number to their new number. This allows them to bypass two-factor authentication by using your phone number to reset passwords and take over your accounts. Ellis was one of the first to learn this SIM swapping trick. With his army of bribed employees at major phone companies, these attacks were becoming routine for Ellis. One day in early 2018, Ellis got a private message from a user named Harry on the OG Users forum. Harry had a simple question: could Ellis hack an AT&T phone? And he had a target in mind, Michael Turpin. They obtained Michael's info and were about to unleash their plan. They're writing programs to automate the attack, figuring out the order in which to hit Michael's crypto accounts. Everything had to be flawless, and luckily for them, Michael had been SIM swapped before, giving them a window to strike. Once they were in, they unleashed a program to scan Michael's emails for keywords like crypto and passwords, but nothing popped up. Ellis started resetting passwords to every single email account Michael's ever used. After what felt like forever, he found an email with the word keys in the subject line. Inside were passwords to all of Michael's crypto wallets like Binance, Coinbase, and many more. One of the wallets with 900 million in Ethereum was password protected. But instead of giving up, Ellis kept looking and stumbled upon another wallet. This one uses a 12-word seed phrase for access. He cracked it open to find 3 million coins of a cryptocurrency he'd never heard of. He checked the price on CoinMarketCap and discovered that it was a whopping $24 million. Ellis then went on to Twitter asking for help. 7 people responded, and Ellis started sending them the crypto coins, asking them to convert them to Bitcoin. Once they did, they sent the Bitcoin back to Ellis and Harry and received at least $20,000 for their assistance. That's when things take a very different turn. A guy named Erupts joins the call and agrees to help. Ellis sends him the stolen coins, trusting him to convert them and return the Bitcoin. But Erupts does a disappearing act. Harry was furious and he put a hit out on Erupts. As it turns out, Erupts is Nicholas Truglia, a guy from Manhattan who loves flaunting his crypto wealth online. Ellis, thankfully, is the voice of reason. He convinces Harry that killing Erupts is way too risky, especially since they've already made a ton of money. By the time Ellis and Harry split the loot, they're sitting on $10 million each. But as all good things come to an end, Ellis is about to learn a harsh lesson about the dark side of cybercrime. As this was the second time he had been SIM-swapped, this time he decided to fight back. He sued AT&T, claiming their employees were involved and the company needed to be held responsible. The lawsuit garnered all kinds of media attention. The more people talked about this crime, the closer Michael felt to finding the hackers. He got a call from a mysterious guy named Chris David, who claimed to have some very important information about his case. David, who was friends with Nick, had always thought Nick's crypto millions were suspicious. For a while, he'd been collecting dirt on him, worried things might blow back on him someday. After months of observing Nick's antics, David confronted Nick and secretly recorded his confession. David asked Nick how he had made his money, and Nick, not knowing that he was being recorded, told him everything. But the next morning, Nick asks David to bring him some food. Turns out it was a trap. The police were waiting, and David got arrested for stealing Nick's laptop and crypto. After some time, when Ellis's life seems like it's running smoothly, he gets a message from Erupts. Nick wants to take Ellis for a night out. Ellis is suspicious. But Nick kept insisting, so Ellis finally agreed. Nick went all out, but Ellis felt weird about the whole thing. Back to the phone call. Chris David tells Michael Turpin everything that happened. He tells Michael that Nick mentioned Michael as his biggest hack. Without wasting any more time, Michael went to the FBI and also hired a good lawyer. Once the first arrest happened, Michael started receiving anonymous tips from people who weren't criminals themselves but knew some. One of these tips came from Joseph Plugwalk Joe O'Connor. He mentioned that the real mastermind behind everything wasn't Nick, it was someone called Pi, and texted Michael the name and hometown of the real culprit, Ellis Pinsky from Irvington. By this time, Homeland Security had already caught Nick as he was involved in 6 other SIM swapping cases. Nick had always been reckless. He made the mistake of using his own ID to register for the Coinbase account, and that is how the React task force found him. After his arrest, they went through his stuff, even his cloud backup. That's where they found information for the Michael Turpin case. Nick ended up in Elwood Correctional Facility and got hit with 21 felony charges, but surprisingly none for the Turpin hack. Michael knew Nick wasn't the mastermind. That's when Ellis's mom got an email from a lawyer working for Michael Turpin. The email accused Ellis of being the leader, and so Ellis decided to return everything he'd stolen. He hoped this would show he was sorry, but things were far from over. Fast forward 7 months, and Nick got charged with wire fraud for selling Turpin's stolen coins. He even got bail, but then got arrested again for the new charges. The judge, however, let him wait for trial at his house in Orlando under house arrest with the conditions to stay off the internet. In December 2021, the police found drugs and electronic devices at his house and sent him back to jail. And in December 2022, the judge sentenced Nick to 18 months and ordered him to pay Turpin $20 million. Turpin felt like the prosecutors let Nick get off easily and appealed the decision. Ellis tried to make things right by returning the stolen crypto, but the market crashed and it was worth way less than before. Michael Turpin sued Ellis for the full amount he lost and then some. In the end, Ellis got stuck with the court order to pay Turpin but avoided jail time because he was a minor and cooperated with the police. Nick, on the other hand, after getting out of prison, got caught with fake IDs and a gun, then violated probation again, and he still owed Turpin. The judge gave Nick a deadline to pay up or he'll go back to jail, and this time there's no guarantee he'll get out. As for Harry, he seems to have gotten away with it because the only other information available about him is that he's a young British guy in Spain who got sentenced for other SIM-swapping crimes, but nothing related to the Turpin attack. The whole story is a mess, and it's not even over yet. We'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. As for now, let us know in the comments what's your take on this whole story, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.